Most guys are either sacrificing their physique or their cognitive performance on a daily basis. And it all comes down to your diet. If you're smashing too much carbohydrates first thing in the morning, what's going to happen? Your blood sugar is going to spike, it's going to crash. You then go to sit and work, do what needs to be done in your business, and you can't even concentrate for more than 10 minutes. Or on the flip side, you go keto, carnivore, low carb. Yes, mentally you feel a little bit sharper, but then the physique starts to suffer. Your recovery, you're flat, you're depleted, the pump ain't as good. There is a way to build both in harmony. The body, stay mentally sharp so you can focus on business, on your career, and grow both at the same time. It doesn't have to be one or the other. And I work with 6 to 7 figure entrepreneurs, and this is exactly what I do. I analyze their current life setup, and I design their diet in a way that they can stay mentally sharp, that they can build the physique, that they still hit their macros, they can build muscle, shred body fat, focus, have predictable energy on a daily basis. And this is exactly what I'm going to talk you through here today. Because at the end of the day, mentally sharp, when we're business owners, that is absolutely key. That's non-negotiable. When it comes to decision making, when it comes to managing your team, managing stress, the clarity that you gain from consuming good quality foods, from staying mentally sharp. If we're eating random food throughout the day, spiking our blood sugars, what's going to happen? We're going to have brain fog. We're not going to have that predictable, sustained energy on a daily basis to actually do what we need to do and show up as our best selves within the business, to scale the business. You scale the business, you make more money. And that directly leads back to the inputs, the quality of the food, the way you're eating on a daily basis, because at the end of the day, your business is going to be an extension of you. So you need to make sure that the fuel that you're putting into you is the correct fuel that gives you the best advantage to become the best entrepreneur, best business owner. And from a physique standpoint, that will directly have an impact on your business as well. How you show up each and every day, how people perceive you, how the world perceives you. If you're in shape, you look physically capable. That's a sign of discipline. That's a sign of you're a guy who actually shows up for yourself, and people buy into people. So if you physically show up for yourself, you look aesthetic, you have the physique, people are automatically drawn to you. Just from a business standpoint, never mind a relationship standpoint, and for your own self-image and how you view yourself, again, will have a direct impact on how your business performs, how your life progresses. Okay, and this is the exact thing I'm going to talk you through here. We're going to focus on the diet because everything comes back to your diet. The inputs into the body, the fuel you put in, is going to equate to the outputs that you get. And the first thing that we need to do is we need to actually analyze. What does your day-to-day life look like? Your business setup. Maybe you're in a career currently, starting your business. You need to understand exactly what your day-to-day life looks like, your social life, your family, your travel. Do you travel regularly? This all needs to be taken into consideration. Again, we're going to come to the nutrient timing. This is going to be the key for the actual diet setup, and I'm going to bring you through the exact way that I set the diet up for the 6, 7 figure entrepreneurs that I work with. Okay? And my own current diet, it's the exact same. But this all stems back from analyzing all of this. So you need to see, okay, where are you currently at with everything in your day-to-day life? We then need to build out a routine specific to you. So a calendar setup. How many days of the week can you fully commit to the gym? Whether it's 3, 4, 5, again, completely person dependent. How much actual mental load do you have? Are you managing a big team? Is it a high pressure business where you're in a growing phase that you need to pull back on the amount of times that you can actually go to the gym, but it's still non-negotiable to get into the gym? But you just need to analyze that and understand, okay, this is the current phase that I'm in right now. I can only commit to 3. And then you just focus on the 3 gym sessions. You schedule them in. You need to be organized. Just like you wouldn't miss a business meeting with a high-ticket client, you don't miss when you get your calendar set up. So once you have everything analyzed, you get the calendar set up, organization is key, and then you have that daily blueprint with your training, your business, your personal standards, your nutrition. That needs to be hit, non-negotiable. So you build out that routine. Once you have your routine fully dialed in, I'm just going over these quickly as well because I want to get to the good stuff here. You then figure out, okay, how are you going to actually get the correct food into you? Is it going to be through a meal prep company? Is it going to be your own cooking? Do you have a chef? I know a lot of the guys that I work with have chefs, so you just give them the macros. Are you on the go? Are you traveling? And some weeks you may be meal prepping, other weeks you may be traveling with work, so you need to go on the go. So we need to build out specific structures for you and understand that when you are traveling, you have these options that you can go to. You build it out. For example, some of the guys fly from London to Dubai. In Dubai, we have places that we know where we can go to. In London, we have places where we know we can go to, or else the meal prep company that he uses. So it's like, once you travel around and you kind of figure out, okay, where are the options that I can go for, it becomes easy. So now we're going to move on to the good stuff, nutrient timing. This is the key teaching that I want you to take from this video, okay? This is all leading up to this. Once you understand, okay, when can you go to the gym? Is it, let's say, the morning time? When do you have your deeper work blocks? When do you have your lighter work blocks? When do you have your team calls? You need to map all of that out. And once you have that then mapped out, then we can start to fit the diet in towards that and say, okay, this is how we need to time our nutrients to make sure that we are operating at our highest mentally on a daily basis, but building the physique that we actually want to build. So once we have this done, we know where we're going to be getting our food sources from, which need to be minimum 90% whole foods. Again, for gut health, for the quality of your sleep, everything's going to stem back to your diet. Okay, so no just hitting your macros just because we're hitting macros' sake. Good quality, good nutritious food is going to fuel you correctly. At the end of the day, your diet, as I mentioned, is the key to how you show up each and every day, to have that predictable energy. All right, so we have an example diet set up here now. This is where you're going to take the real value from. All right, your wake time, hydrate, walk is a great setup. You wake up, get your supplements into you, your creatine, your electrolytes, depending on your current setup. Go out for a walk, get some daylight exposure first thing in the morning. That's going to help regulate your nervous system, your circadian rhythm, which is going to then have a massive impact on your state throughout the day, but also how you can sleep, switch off in the evening. Just having a regulated circadian rhythm is very overlooked, but that's another video for another time. Then we're going to go into some fasted work here, okay? So first thing in the morning, fast. Supplements, L-theanine. Have some lion's mane with your caffeine. That's my current supplement stack here in the morning. And then I'll go into that 3-hour deep work block. No phone, no social media, no noise, no nothing. Within those 3 hours, you can get more work done than an 8-hour block. And this is from my own experience, by the way. This is what I do every single day. I've noticed that if I come home, I go to the gym, I have a big heavy carb meal, then I sit down, I've been on social media, I sit and I go to work. I'm not as mentally sharp. My cognitive function, there's a lot of decisions that needed to be made up until the point that I actually sit and then I work. And then I'm also getting carbohydrates into me, which is spiking my blood sugars. I'm getting food into me, which is just affecting how mentally sharp I am. So getting that 3-hour work block done, first thing in the morning, fasted, is one of the biggest cheat codes that I can give you right now, okay? Once you then have your deep work block done, and how concentrated you can be in that is next level. You then go into your pre-workout, or let's say we're going to the gym then midday. Pre-workout meal here, what would we essentially have? We want to have some simple sugars, okay? We want to fuel ourselves before we go into the gym because this is going to help with performance. So we're going to have, you could have something like rice cakes, a little bit of peanut butter for some fats, and a protein shake. That's an option you could have, or you could have a piece of fruit, protein shake, piece of fruit, yogurt bowl. Again, just simple carbs, a little bit of fats, and a good serving of protein is what you want to have here. But simple sugars, which is going to be easy to digest, as I mentioned, would be rice cakes, fruit. What's another good option? Like honey's a good option, jam's a good option. Things that aren't going to take time to digest, really. That it's going to be a quick uptake of those nutrients. That's then going to fuel you for your gym session. So you can actually go into the gym, you can progress your lifts, you can build muscle tissue. Or if you're in a dieting phase, at least you can preserve muscle tissue. Because if you're not fueling yourself correctly for those gym sessions, what can happen? You're going to be under fuel going into the session, your strength may dip, and then what will happen? you'll end up losing muscle tissue, which is counterproductive to what we want to achieve. Okay, so then you'll get your workout done. Post-workout then, again, a small serving of carbohydrates, like 30 grams of carbohydrates is enough here. A good serving of protein, a little bit more fats. Again, these first 2 meals will be quite small and simple sugars, simple carbohydrates focused in and around training. If I'm on a rest day and there's no gym, I'll just cut the carbs out of these meals. So it'll be like protein, fats, protein, fats. Again, this is going to keep me mentally sharp. There's going to be no blood sugar spikes from the carbohydrates, and I'll be into my next work block. Okay, that's the only alternative from a training day and a rest day. Will be less carbohydrates earlier in the day if I'm not training, because carbs is going to be your body's main fuel source. It's going to be, when you're in the gym, you're going to be using glycogen essentially. You're going to be depleting glycogen. So you want to have the glycogen to actually perform well. But when you're in the gym, you're going to be depleting glycogen. So you want to get some glycogen back in there, which is going to help you recover. Okay? But then on the days we don't train, we can minimize that till the back end of the day. We'll then go into like client fulfillment. So this could be calls, funnel build outs, whatever the guys are doing, managing the team, whatever it might be here, sales. So if guys in just whatever it might be, from you just extrapolate that into your own whatever client fulfillment side of things you have. Meal, we can call this meal 1 then, I guess. Okay, so this is after we've our deep work done, we've training done, we've the majority of our client work done. We can then have like a higher kind of a carb meal, a more balanced, rounded meal. So you could have like rice, some eggs, some chicken, some steak. That's going to be a bigger meal. But you've done the heavy lifting earlier on in the day when it comes to your actual business. I didn't mention it, but we have a macro target, whether you're gaining muscle tissue, reducing body fat, you're in a recomp. You need to have your macros set up for that. And by the end of the day, we'll have hit that target, okay? So that still is non-negotiable, having your macros, depending on the goals that you have for your physique. But that's your meal, and then you might have some lighter work in the evening, some team calls, reviewing the team, whatever it might be at the end of the day. So it's not taking as much cognitive load. This is the work that you can nearly do in your sleep. You've been doing it for years. You understand what you're doing. You can do it with your eyes closed, with your ears blocked, whatever it might be. That's just easy, not as demanding work that we have, okay? Then your last meal of the day, again, will be similar to this meal, a bigger rounded meal. So you're essentially backloading the majority of your carbohydrates for the back end of the day. So here, we're staying relatively small meals, fasted in the morning, a little bit of carbs in and around training to help fuel performance and recovery. So you're still, when you're coming into this work block, you're still in a good position. You can still focus. You have that sustained energy because you're not having high carb meals earlier in the day and you're crashing and getting those midday slumps. Again, water throughout the day is non-negotiable, 4 liters minimum. Pink salt will help transport nutrients around the body, keep you hydrated with each meal as well, is what I'd recommend. Then higher meal, and then at least 60 to 90 minutes, you don't want to be having food before bed from a digestive standpoint. Because if we're going to bed on a full stomach, it's going to affect your sleep massively. Your body's going to be working too hard to actually break down the food, to digest the food. It's going to take away from your deep sleep, from your REM sleep. And then again, that's going to have a knock-on effect to how you wake up in the morning, your energy levels, how you feel. So your diet is so important. And it's something that most people overlook. But if you set up your diet this way, building an aesthetic body, having mental clarity on a daily basis, you can see how this will work for you. And as I said, extrapolate this to your current situation, where you can work, where your deeper work blocks are, where do you need to be mentally sharp for right now, on a daily basis. How do you feel? Do you feel fatigued? Do you feel under-recovered from your training? Again, it all comes down to your diet. So you need to get very, very clear as to your current setup and figure out what needs to happen. Guys, as I said, if you want to work with me one-to-one, there's a link below. If not, this is the key. See you in the next one.